Yes, absolutely. Actually, IFAD, we always call us as a people-centered organization. So really, working with the people on the ground is really the main approach that we are following. All our intervention are actually discussed in a participatory way with the people in the rural areas. The target group of IFAD are mainly family farmers, small-scale family farmers, pastoralists, herders, fishers, rural women, youth, indigenous people. So when we intervene, we basically map out their needs. We discuss with them their vision, what they want to do to improve their livelihoods. Actually, we design intervention that are addressing those needs. Actually, Ron Hartman before mentioned also the importance of policy because, after many years working in development, we realized that, project can have an impact. They can reach out some thousands of families. But really, when you want to promote a rural transformation of agri-food systems to meet the development goals, you need to look at policies because the policies have a permanent impact in the life of people. So IFAD is engaging in policy dialogue with governments, is also supporting family farmers and their organizations to getting, in this kind of policy discussion, and make sure their voice is heard when the decision makers are talking about policies. And that's a very fundamental, part of our strategy. As a matter of fact, 20 years ago, IFA created something which is called Farmers Forum, which is a unique bottom-up process through which farm organizations representing family farmers are engaging with IFAD and governments in basically discussing their priorities and making sure whatever intervention investment is done is actually reflecting their priorities, their needs. It also contributing to the development policy that pro family farming, addressing, for example, issues like land access, which is a fundamental obstacle for many people still in rural areas, particularly for women and youth, addressing finance, which is another fundamental point, addressing the sustainability of their production systems. Then investment is critical because, of course, you can talk about policy, but then you need money to invest. And actually, IFAD is a financial institution, which is fundamentally working through sovereign loans to governments. And these loans then are utilized to basically finance investment on the ground, benefiting farm organizations, communities, youth, women, indigenous people, as I said before. But basically, as I said before, in a participatory demand-driven way. So, the projects are not a one-size-fits-all approach, but really are tailored to the needs of the beneficiaries. Yeah, one fundamental element of any sustainable development approach is really to be inclusive. So you work with all the actors in a particular territory, and actually, even for policy discussion, you want to hear the opinions of everybody to make good decisions. In the case of investment projects, as I said, the design of those interventions are actually mapping out the needs of different actors. And also during the implementation, very often we promote or we strengthen existing multi-stakeholder platforms in which different actors in a particular territory, they can meet, they decide their priorities. They also can make more efficient public investments because they can identify really where the gaps are. And IFAD works very, very closely with the governments at the national level, but also at the local level, because local governments sometimes have budget to invest in infrastructure, for example, that is extremely important, for example, for market access or for basic needs like electricity, access to water, etc. And those investments are totally complementary to the investment IFAD is making on the people, so in their business, basically. Thank you. And access to land is really quite a controversial issue, as you know, no? Because in many countries, the land registers are not updated. So, for example, there are people that occupy land maybe is not theirs. So it's also a source of conflict. So IFAD is working in partnership with the International Land Coalition, which actually we host, to promote again participatory and multi-stakeholder discussions and fora to basically identify solutions. One of the fundamental principles is that we cannot invest, public money in a land which is disputed. clearly, no, because it's a high risk. So one thing we do always when we design a project is to identify these kind of issues. Okay, women is really fundamental priority for IFAD. IFAD has like 4 priorities in its intervention. When these priorities are actually agreed with the member states, because as you know, IFAD is actually a fund which is recapitalized every 3 years. When you go through this replenishment process, you basically agree on the priorities. So gender, youth, nutrition, and climate change are the 4 main priorities. So we have developed like a very comprehensive gender strategy, which is actually gender transformative strategy. So we basically address three dimensions of the gender issue. The first one is economic empowerment. We know that economic empowerment is really one of the fundamental issue. I mean, even when we promote our activities on the ground, sometimes their revenues are actually kept by the man and not by the woman in the family. And we know that women are more careful about the future of the family, about the future of their kids. So investing in women is really something that is actually impacting very much in development, no? In development of the family and the entire community. So economic empowerment is the first one. So having activities that are targeting women or are providing incentive for women to participate. But this is not enough because we know that women sometimes or very often they have a double burden because they also care about the family. They basically have the major task in the family. So we also take care about activities that can alleviate the pressure on women. Kindergarten, other ways to also help them with their family duties and to free up a little bit of their time for these economic activities. But then another fundamental role is the women participation, active participation in organizations. So, promoting female leadership in these organizations. So not just being members, but really being active members and if possible leaders. And also in the multi-stakeholder platform we were discussing before, on the policy discussion that we were mentioning before, having female voices in that and reflecting their priority, reflecting their needs. This is really fundamental. So this combination of elements is what IFAD is actually promoting as gender transformative in our project. And our target is to have more than 50% of projects adopting this approach. And all the others are anyway addressing women priorities. But this transformative approach is actually mainstream throughout our portfolio of investment.